So, good Wednesday to all of you. I want to read just a few very familiar verses from the book of Ecclesiastes. He says, there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. There's a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain. Doesn't that sound like something for these days? But many of you know that for a couple of years I spent some engaged work in being certified in spiritual direction. One of the truths that we were constantly made aware of is that everything that is alive needs and requires care. Plants, animals, our souls even require care if we are to thrive. None of us are an exception. C.S. Lewis once said, you do not have a soul, you are a soul. So I meet with individuals at times to talk about the care of their souls. It's among the most meaningful work that I do. And somebody not long ago asked me, so what is God saying to me in this time? And I thought about that. And what came out kind of surprised even me. I said it's cultivating season. It's not the harvest season. We're not in the end result of what's going on in this unique time we find ourselves in. But it's a cultivating time because I think for many of us there are certain new seeds that are being planted in our souls and in our thoughts. This garden, you look at it, it's planting season, it's cultivating for a harvest that one day will come. And already beautiful, they planted potatoes and kale and peas. They just this week planted tomatoes. And I want to ask you, how's the cultivating season going for you? The soil of our lives for almost all of us has been shaken. Some things have been uprooted. Our foundations are a little bit unsure, it seems like these days. The health of this garden didn't just happen. And so with our souls, I think there are certain practices that if we are to one day have a great harvest, that it will be how much we tend to the care of our souls and cultivate our souls here in this season we find ourselves in. So maybe some practices would be such as simply be still. I know some of you think, well, you don't have any choice in that. But there's a lot of mental health issues that are going on right now. A lot of voices that are just we're struggling to deal with these days. To be still and to listen to the voice of God. Then to ask yourself, what are you planting? I think we're planting in our souls a lot of just the news on TV or the headlines in the paper, and that's what's going to grow out of the soil of our lives. So listen to God. Plant in your souls something that speaks of the voice of God. And last of all, like with this garden, be sure to take care of the weeds. Sometimes that's nothing more than as basic as washing hands and keeping social distance. But be mindful of your attachments. What is it that you are really looking for to cope with these times that we find ourselves in? But to me, there's one question that we need to be asking more than any other one question. I ask it of myself daily. And that question is, what is God trying to say to me during this time? What is God trying to get into the soil of your soul these days? I'm still working on that because to me there's something no more important than when we find ourselves in this pandemic we're in, when everything is new and different, and we have an opportunity to let something new be planted into our souls. But this much I come back to. God has the last word, and sometimes I want to get ahead of God. I want the harvest to come quicker. I want the plants to already be producing, if you will. But these plants, they don't pop up after one day. And some of the things that need to be cultivated in our soil aren't going to be happening in one day either. So daily be asking the question, what is God saying to you these days? You know, what I'm learning is a lot of things I really don't need. What I do need is to be able to continually trust in God. And I do that a lot by listening to God's people, to many of you, and that's where the connection still is so important. I always say, put things in the laboratory of life, test it, see if it's real, shake it up, see what lands. To me, the promises of God are dependable. than what we can plant in our soil. So let this be for all of us a season of cultivating some new truths, some new experiences of Christ, some new discoveries that can add to the importance of your soul. So here's the question, is what you are doing right now, today, this next week, is it preparing for a great harvest? Psalm, the very first chapter of the Psalms, he says, and I hope it's so true of you, he's like a tree planted by the water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers. Good planting day for you. I pray the harvest will be one that will remind you of the goodness of God. So have a good day.